Hey guys, how's it going? So in this snack bite, we're actually gonna discuss Rick seeing that helicopter, and checking online. There've been a lot of people who have been asking the question: is Rick hallucinating? The answer to that would be no. It's a no. Um, Rick's not. I mean, Rick hasn't hallucinated since the first half of season 4, and it was after severe trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, Daryl hit him, but he didn't hit him that hard that he's going to be just randomly seeing helicopters.
Yeah, it also wasn't even like a trauma they made up at the end. They came to an understanding and it was kind of
Oh, no, I
squashed at
was
that
joking.
point. No, I know. It's just, I mean, I'm just addressing the people who actually believe this theory that, he's hallucinating. I don't see any reason for why that makes any sense. He seemed completely lucid. He decided on his own that he was going to go hike off and do this whole thing on his own. And then,
This dumb thing.
and yeah, this dumb thing. And the hallucination wasn't even that weird.
Hmm?
He saw a helicopter, this hallucination,
If he
quote
was going to
unquote.
hallucinate something, that would be like, I don't feel like that would be the thing that he's hallucinating.
Yeah, it would be a lot more outlandish. He'd see somebody who was,
You'd see Negan or something.
right, yeah, it would be something like that. He's not just going to, like, see a
Rick.
random helicopter.
Hmm.
You have a very good theory about where that helicopter may have come from.
Okay. So the only times we've seen a helicopter, we saw it in season 1, uh, well, no, it's not season 1. It was a season 2. Or going towards the farm. It led the herd towards the farm, and then we
Yeah,
see it again. The governor stumbles across the crashed helicopter. Um, the last time we actually saw a helicopter in this universe, however, was on Fear the Walking Dead.
yeah.
Um, Now I know they're gonna do a crossover very soon, and they said sometime next year. However,
Gimple also said, though, at the premiere, he said sooner rather than later.
they're very tricky and secretive, and who knows what's going on. But I think it's entirely possible that this helicopter may have come from the West Coast, a bit further away, not from the South. And we probably won't see or hear anything about it again until the second half of this season, or maybe even next year. It's kind of the same thing like when who was it? Who was it? Eugene and them. They heard the no, it was Michonne, Daryl, and Bob and Tyrese, and they heard the radio. Those who arrived survived. The Terminus thing,
The
and
Terminus
then we
thing.
didn't circle back to that until at the very end of the season. So I think one of those deals is probably gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that was a planting of a seed. It was a very brief scene. I mean, it was maybe what 15 seconds long. It's just basically Rick walking and him hearing a noise and just being
And
like,
looking up like,
"What
what
the
the
fuck?" And the second that it goes out, you just see him think like, "That's weird," and then it's done. There's no mention of it like ever again. And I know the show and I know the way that these guys write, and it's gonna be something that they're gonna wait just long enough for us to forget about it, and
and
then
then bring
all of
it
a
back.
sudden it's gonna show up somewhere else. We're gonna be like, "That was the helicopter that Rick saw on the road." It's just that's always the
But
way that it
show
is.
of hands who thinks it's Strand manning that helicopter.
Oh, that would be fucking awesome.
I
I would
know.
love Strand for Strand to somehow show up in this universe,
Here,
dude. That would be
here's
amazing.
here are my thoughts. While I agree with the theory that the crossover will initially take place on Fear the Walking Dead with Abraham being with like Madison and knowing Madison and them at some point because she's in Houston now. I also think that I know that the show is struggling, which is why Scott Gimple went over there in the first place to do the show running and
Or
whatnot.
to facilitate the crossover before it gets canceled.
Yeah, like I feel like the show's gonna get that show's gonna get the axe. Like next season is probably gonna be their last season. Is my hypothesis, and if that's true, they're gonna take their faves, the characters like Madison, Strand, and Nick, basically just those three, and they're gonna migrate them over to The Walking Dead with a time jump. Um, so it's possible they could be on that helicopter, or it's possible that they're like part of the Whisperers, or it's possible that Nick's part of the Whisperers, which would make more sense, and that Madison and Strand are together on the helicopter. I mean, there's a number of things that could be going on, and that's just what I've worked out in my own brain. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but
I wish I could disagree with you about the possibility of it getting canceled, but unfortunately, I think that that's probably right.
It's
Um,
not that their numbers are low; it's just low for AMC.
yeah, I think what happened is, the show got so good the last season. I mean, I loved the last season of Fear the Walking Dead. It's amazing. Like, it's so well done. It's one of
Mm-hmm.
like the best shows on TV right now. Unfortunately, they were just too late. The first and second seasons, they just weren't all that great, and I think that the people from the Walking Dead audience who gave it a shot were just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not what we expected, and they just kind of gave up
Well,
on it.
they had a really bad start. This is
It
very off
it
topic.
was a bad
It's a
start.
bad start. The
Yeah,
first two seasons, they didn't do it the way they should have done it, in my
no.
opinion. Which is why Scott Gimple is going over in the first place.
I would
So,
imagine so. But I mean, circling back to the helicopter, that's why we're talking about Fear of the Walking Dead, is because I'm willing to bet, and I think you're
it's a
right about
West Coast
this. I think
copter.
it's probably from Fear of the Walking Dead. I think that's probably the
Wait,
first planted seed
I
of
meant
the crossover.
West Coast chopper. I
Oh,
don't want to promote that brand.
yeah.
That weird Iron Cross.
Yeah. Um, no comment. Um, I mean, they put a lot of emphasis on social media earlier this year, with like that graphic that they made of the world. It said the worlds collide, and it was about the two shows. And to me, I just don't know why they would put so much effort and blast it out on all their social media channels unless they were thinking that it was going to happen soon. Because in social media land, like, you don't even know what they posted yesterday. Like, people's attention spans are very low, so that would indicate to me that whatever it was that they meant, the worlds collide, it was going to happen soon, like in this season. And I think that the helicopter was probably the first hint of that happening.
Hmm.
As far as like the Whisperers and all that stuff goes, I don't know. Maybe chronologically in the comic book, the Whisperers probably wouldn't even show up until like season 10. So I don't know how they would do that. But there's no reason why it wouldn't make sense for the main characters from that show to somehow show up on this show or vice versa.
Given what I know and have seen, no, given what I know about the Whispers and given what I've seen of Nick, it seems to fit that he would be the leader of that shit. Like, I know it's supposed to be a woman named Alpha or whatever, but that just seems like the kind of group that Nick would be running with about now. Like, he's eating brain stems, like human brain stems. This guy, he's taking brain stem shots. That's not normal. He's walking around with his blood and stuff, for like shits and gigs. This is not a normal
For anybody who
person.
has not watched Fear the Walking Dead this last season because you were turned off because of how
The
boring the
first
first
two.
two, give it another shot. I swear to God,
Just
it's
jump on
really,
into
really
season
good.
three.
It's, well, I would say like watch maybe the last four episodes of season two, just like they
I
know.
don't know if they'll get through it. Just jump into season three.
Watch the last two
Anything you don't
episodes.
get,
Just the last two episodes of season two before season
you,
three.
you can intuit the things that you've missed.
Well,
Like,
there's a couple things that, I mean, like the
I mean, they
fire
when they do
thing and
flashbacks and stuff. I mean, whatever.
whatever. We're way off topic, but
Anything else?
I think that's about it.
Oh, shout out to my friend Randy, who said that the helicopter is with spirit guide as it's led him on varying journeys
I didn't know
in
Randy said
previous
that.
in previous
That's
seasons.
good. I like that.
I liked it too. Like, maybe it is gonna
Kind of makes
bring on
sense.
some other things. So.
If you guys like our contact, what? God, she's just out of it tonight.
What?
If you guys like our content, please make sure to subscribe, like, and follow all of our channels. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Also follow us on Facebook at The Living Rochon, also on Instagram at RL Rochon, and also the new website, www.thelivingrochon.com. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and we'll talk to you soon.